What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're doing the National League roster preview for investments this year. Things are different. If you watch the American League video, you know that we're dealing with a different landscape. The quick sell prices have changed drastically, and that creates a whole new dynamic. I'm actually looking for my quick sell page here real quick so I can have it up to reference. But things are different for sure. Quick sell prices are not the same anymore. It will not be, for example, let me just get 100 Ozzy Albies, and then when he goes over to 85, quick sell for 5,000. No longer the case. In fact, just using Albies as an example, he already costs more than the 85 quick sell would pay off. The 85 quick sell is currently 3,000 stubs. Honestly, this is a good move. It was too easy to get a fat bankroll. We can still do it, and we're still going to do it. But I understand why SDS wanted to bring things down a little bit. They found ways to kind of get better about those log jams of high-end players, but there were still some last year. With everybody having so much money, virtual money, stubs, it creates those log jams. So making it a little bit tougher to build your bankroll is totally fine. They were eventually going to make some sort of move here, y'all. And honestly, this is not too bad of a move. And again, it does not kill investments. So please do not think that it does. It does create a little bit more work. But for example, say you want to invest in Ozzy Albies, okay? And he goes up to like an 87 or something. 87 is still not a high enough quick sell to do that. But his price will likely be somewhere around Matt Olson's here. So then you have to do individual sales. So it will take more work to get those profits, but they're still there. And there will still be guys that go high enough from a lower starting point to where you can get quick sell. And I'll cover a bunch of that. Again, if you didn't watch the American League first, I'll have some repeat things that I say, but I'll try not to repeat everything. I do encourage you to watch the American League first, as that will work in a better order here, as opposed to starting with the National League. But let's get into the Braves. Let's talk about it. And, Ozzy Albies is here. For me, I'm just not going to be investing in guys that are over 4,000. Really anything over 3,000 for me. On a gold, I'm not having a big enough bankroll for that early on, so there's no need to. You see right now I have 4,000 stubs. Of course, I will have more stubs than that as we move forward. But right now, I'm not investing in these high-end golds because the risk reward just isn't there to make it make sense for me. So let's find some guys on this team that we do like. And none of the golds really jump out. I will say, and I mentioned this in the American League, you can use some of the early season, I want to say struggles, but that's not even that. Max Fried did not struggle. In fact, if you watch that game, he got kind of dinked and doinked to death. But he did give up 5 runs, so his price is down a little bit. Utilize weaker starts to invest and go out and get guys whose prices come down because they're not killing it right away. If you believe in them, right? And I'm a huge Max Fried guy. I think he actually has some NL Cy Young consideration. So at 570, I'm definitely in on him because he really only needs to go up to an 82 to have plenty of quick sell value. So let's say I'm buying a bunch at 600. The 82 quick sell is 900. I could even do that. Let alone if he goes up to like 83, 84, then the quick sell is even easier. So Max Fried, definitely somebody I'm investing in. Nobody else in these top 8 am I really seeing as big investments. Ian Anderson, he's another one who got smoked today by the Reds. I'm recording this on Sunday, April 10th. Use that to your advantage if you believe in in Ian Anderson. I do believe in him as well. I'm a big fan. He was dealing with a blister late in spring. I wouldn't be surprised if that was causing some of the issues today, and he was just a bit off. No worries for me from one start. I'm going to still stick with guys that I like. So Ian Anderson's somebody that I would definitely go out and get if you also believe in him, because I do see him getting into the mid-gold this year. And mid-gold would be 82. That'd be 900 quick sell. Plenty of profit there. I'm surprised, but I understand that Manny Pena is a silver. I was all set to recommend him as a bronze because I think offensive numbers are going to regress. I know he's hurt right now, but they give him such strong defense that he's already at a silver. He could go gold. Do we really want to invest in a secondary catcher, though? Probably not. But I will give the case, just for those of you that like Manny Pena, just because I want to explain how good he was last year and how well it was, or how much it was hidden by some of his numbers. So he hit 13 homers, but he had a 189 average. And you're like, well, what was so good about that? He had a 162 BABIP. That's batting average on balls in play. That is comically low, no matter how you slice it. Like super slow guys that don't hit the ball particularly hard can have low BABIPs. He's not that, by the way, but he is slow, but he hits the ball pretty hard. But like that's the low end is usually in the low to mid 200s. 162 is so unbelievably unlucky, but that's what happens in 208 plate appearances. And 13 of his 34 hits went for homers, which don't count toward BABIP. So there you go. But he had an 18% strikeout rate and an 11% walk rate. Those are really strong plate skills. So I think Manny Pena is going to have a nice regression year, get back on track offensively. And since this defense is already so strong, I would not be surprised if Manny Pena was a sneak gold. We know Travis d'Arnaud is not the healthiest guy over his career. Don't be surprised if even at age 35, Manny Pena starts to get a good bit of time. Wait for him to come back. Don't invest right now. Price is fine. I mean, if you want, you can, but like, don't go crazy until he gets back. But once he gets healthy, don't be surprised if he starts to eat up some of Travis d'Arnaud's playing time. And then we're going over to Eddie Rosario. Eddie Rosario is actually pretty decently priced here. I can get in on this. I'm not the biggest Eddie Rosario fan in terms of, guys that are a little bit more free swingers. I tend to lean away from a little bit. I'm a little bit of a over bias toward guys who take walks. And again, it's not that walks themselves are the end all be all or they're magical. It's what they signify: plate control, pitch recognition. That's all. But Eddie Rosario has made a strong career out of being a big power guy who makes a shit ton of contact. So there's a lot to like about him. I can easily see him getting gold. We know how brilliant he was in the playoffs last year. I believe he actually finished diamond. He and Kike Hernandez were two of the biggest jumps in playoff metrics after their huge postseasons. Colin McHugh can go gold. We know how talented he is. He's been an awesome reliever. I think Braves fans are really going to enjoy having him on their team. He's priced just fine as well, so I do like him as a solid gold investment. Dansby Swanson as well. Really all four. I mean, Rosario, McHugh, and Swanson are on a different level than Pena because Pena is a backup catcher. So make sure that, I want to be clear here, I'm not saying go out and get a ton of Pena because he's not even healthy right now. Wait till he comes back. So I'm not putting him in the same realm as Rosario, McHugh, and Swanson, who I would start investing in immediately. I would also start investing in Tyler Matzik immediately. Speaking of the playoffs, he emerged last year and was instrumental in their success. In fact, the whole bullpen was. That is why they won. I mean, not the only reason. Obviously, Rosario crushed it, Soler. They had plenty of contributions offensively. But the bullpen, which I tabbed as a weakness coming into the playoffs, and I said, they're going to be out early because of their bullpen, shows what I know. And that's really the volatility of bullpens. You can have your bullpen catch fire in October, and boom, you're winning a World Series because go look at them on paper, and I'm not trying to justify being wrong. I'll take a fat fucking L on that. They absolutely were way better than I could have possibly imagined. But you looked at Will Smith being a little shaky. Even Tyler Matzik had a good ERA in the regular season, but he walked a bunch of guys. AJ Minter, same type of thing. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't trust this bullpen. Then they go out and they just kill it. I think Luke Jackson had 1 or 2 bad outings, and those were the only 2 times that the bullpen had any sort of trouble. The rest of the bullpen was dominant, including Tyler Matzik. He's a beast lefty. We know how great he can be. I could see him getting into gold. I wouldn't go too crazy, though, only because his walk rate is still an issue. The bulk of his gains will come from the K9. And I do wonder, can he really improve his walk rate? I would bet against it necessarily. If we start to see that he is limiting walks, then he really does have high gold and maybe even diamond upside. But for now, I would tab Tyler Matzik as somebody who can get to like the 79 to 81 range. Marcell Ozuna's back, and listen, I understand if you don't want to invest in him because you have problems with his off the field stuff. I make no bones about that. Same with fantasy. You don't want to draft the guys who are a-holes. That is totally chill. We play these games to have fun, fantasy and MLB The Show. And if you just don't want anything to do with the shitty dudes of the game, totally get it. If you see it more as like, I'm only investing in his numbers, I'm not condoning anything that he does, which is the case too, right? If you drafted him, that's not you co-signing on him being a piece of shit. You are drafting numbers, or you're buying numbers in this case in MLB The Show. So to each their own on that. Bottom line is, he's a quality hitter. That's not me advocating anything about him as a person, but he's a good hitter. He's probably going to come back and probably work his way back into a gold tier. And if you want to benefit from that, you absolutely can. And then looking deeper on the team, speaking of Luke Jackson, I could see Luke Jackson maybe pushing silver, but it'd be a long way out. Kyle Wright had an awesome debut. He's been a prospect for a while. There's a little bit of something called prospect fatigue, which, the phrase probably tells you all you need to know. But basically, it's when a guy becomes a prospect, early on, right after they're drafted, and they take a while to really start to push forward. Like, he got drafted in 2017 as a number 5 overall pick, and he was a top prospect right away. And so we've been hearing about him now for 5 years. And even though he's not really behind track or way behind the 8 ball at age 26, it feels like he's been around for a while. It's kind of like it feels like a put up or shut up year, even though he has 76 major league innings under his belt. So sometimes guys get prospect fatigue. They get the tag of that, even though they don't deserve it. And I would say Kyle Wright is like that. He doesn't deserve that yet. He's barely been in the majors. So I like Kyle Wright. I think he's got great upside. I wouldn't even be surprised if he got to gold this year. Injuries are a little bit of a concern for sure. And you can see just in this picture, they call this the inverted W. I don't know why they don't just call it an M. Isn't that what an inverted W is? But this windup here can certainly put some pressure in the wrong spots on his elbow and cause injuries. But he also has a shit ton of talent, and I would not be surprised if he has a breakout season this year. Spencer Strider. He was our first who the hell is this guy middle relief appearance of the year. On opening night, he threw 2 perfect innings with 5 strikeouts, hit over 99 with 15 pitches. I don't know what the exact number was, but just popping 99 to 100 mile an hour BBs, striking everybody out on the Reds. He did a fantastic job. And so he is a really, really interesting guy for this year. He can go well beyond this 60 overall. And I'm seeing from chat that Luke Jackson is out for the year with TJ. Pardon me, I missed that. Do not invest in Luke Jackson. Sorry about that. Anyone else here? He has to get an opportunity, but Tucker Davidson, I am pretty interested in him still. Same with Kyle Muller, to be honest. I passed him over earlier. So, Kyle Wright is the guy right now. And he's got an opportunity first and foremost. And if he breaks out, then he's going to hold the spot, as long as he's pitching healthy. From there, obviously, there will be other opportunities. I think Tucker Davidson is penciled in as a 6th starter right now. I like Huascar Noah, but he's no guarantee. And then, I don't want to jinx anybody, but, Charlie Martin's older and everything. Bottom line is teams use more than 5 guys or even 6 guys. So if Muller or Davidson gets an opportunity, I'd be pretty intrigued by investing in them. If you get in on Davidson right now, he's literally single digits, so he can't hurt you. If you want to put some away for a rainy day and hope that he gets called up or breaks out this year, because again, I'm seeing on Roster Resource that he's the SP6. I didn't know they were using a 6-man rotation. If that's true and he's already in the rotation, then I would invest in Tucker Davidson right now. But yeah, don't sleep on Spencer Strider here. I am really, really interested in him, and that velo is going to go way up the next time. Now, velo does not change in overall. I'm saying more from like a BR events usage standpoint. I think he's going to be a bronze with a 99 mile an hour fastball in the first update. So that doesn't mean you should get more than one of him. You can use that when you draft him. But as far as investing, he should be a bronze in the first update, and then if he keeps pitching like we saw this time, he'll be a gold this year. Moving over to the Marlins, they got Avi. I like that pickup, by the way. Sandy Alcantara is my Cy Young candidate, my Cy Young pick for the National League. So I'm 1,000% in on investing in him here. I believe he's going to go diamond at some point this year. So he's a big investment for me. Just by all means, dive in even at this price. I'd probably buy him as high as 2,200 right now, 2,500. Like, I'm just going to buy a ton of shares and hold. When I put my first bit of my bankroll in, I don't do no money spent. Hats off to those who do, but I usually put a few bucks in and get my bankroll going that way. Sandy Alcantara will be a big part of my initial investments, without a doubt. I like Jesus Aguilar, but he's fairly priced and fairly graded. Same with Stallings. Jazz, Jazz has crazy upside. He's one of the most exciting players in the game, but he's already pretty expensive. And I got to be honest, I don't think I would invest in him because of where he's already priced, because everyone knows how exciting he is, right? He's like one of those guys that's like, well, everyone's in on him. And to pay off on quick sell, he would need to get 7 points for a 1,500 quick sell price as an 84. To really pay off, he'd have to go diamond. Now, of course he can. He's Jazz Chisholm. We know how good he can be, but he had like a 950 OPS last April and then a 650 for the rest of the season. Those are general numbers. Those are not exact, but that's basically what it was. 9 something in April, and then he got hurt, and then the rest of the year he was in the mid 600s. Do I think that's who he is? No, obviously not. But he strikes out a lot. His plate discipline is not too sharp just yet. I just think he's going to take some time to grow. So I would not go crazy because the market is already pretty high on him price-wise. I love Trevor Rogers. He had a nice debut today on Sunday against the Giants. Definitely investing in him. I see mid to high gold easily with diamond upside. Pablo Lopez is going to go as far as that shoulder will take him. We saw how great he was last year for about 120 innings. Shoulder came. He was out for the rest I pointed the wrong shoulder. He's a right-hander. Shoulder came up. He was out the rest of the year. It was tough. Good debut so far this year. He's healthy right now. I would invest in him, but ranking the three between Alcantara, Rogers, and Lopez, I would go heavy on Alcantara, heavy on Rogers, low on Lopez, just because of the health and because it's a persistent issue. If it was, multiple different injuries, maybe some fluke injuries, I could justify it. But the fact that it's always that shoulder means I don't think we're never going to really be in the clear with him. So just be careful with overly investing in Pablo Lopez. Great talent, just needs to find some health. Jorge Soler can get to gold, but he's already pretty high priced because of how good of a card he is. And I think was he supercharged? I don't remember actually. Maybe I'm wrong on supercharged. But either way, too expensive to invest in. Anthony Bender, definitely see gold upside with him. Could even see high gold. I wouldn't even rule out potential diamond for a reliever. Now, when you're talking reliever diamond, that's always going to take multiple months because they just don't pitch a ton of innings. So be very careful getting too over invested on any of the relievers that you like if you think they can go diamond, because that's going to take a long time, especially for somebody like Bender who does not have a lengthy track record. Love the talent, but focus on gold right now. And he needs to go 83, 84 to really pay off on this price. So if you're not willing to be patient, don't invest in Bender. Garrett Cooper's actually got some intrigue. He's a good hitter. Is he going to play every day? I don't know. And he is a 75, so we really need him to go into gold. That's 5 points at a minimum. Monitor him. He's a good player, but I don't think I'd invest right now. I would invest in Jesus Sanchez, though. He's a beast. Honestly, here's a good version of what his future could look like. Jorge Soler. And Soler's at 76. Now, that's only 3 points. But Sanchez is 24 years old, too. He could hit a higher trajectory. And don't forget, or recall if you followed Jorge Soler early on, the expectations were for Soler to be even better than he's been. Now, I know he has a 48 homer season, but when he was a prospect, there was talk of could he be a 300, 3,100 type of guy? That sort of complete hitter. And then we realized, okay, he's a little bit more of a swing and miss, strikeout sort of guy. And Sanchez is probably going to be more of a Soler current day than Soler prospect guy. But there is a world where Sanchez kind of fixes the strikeout rate a little bit, maybe hits closer into the 270 or higher range with the same kind of power that Soler has. And then he'd definitely be like a high gold. I can never quit Brian Anderson. I'm not saying invest in him, just keep him on your watch list. He's dealt with some injuries the past couple of seasons. When healthy, he's a very good player, though. I really like him, but just keep an eye on him. That's all. Don't have to invest right now. Jesus Luzardo's trying to come back after a dud year last year, and he's looking the part so far. He had an excellent spring. The stuff is there. We know that, right? It was there with Oakland, and it's not like Oakland sold low on him. They got Starling freaking Marte. Now, it was a rental, but Starling Marte came over and played like an absolute beast for them. So I like Luzardo as a bounce back candidate. Definitely invest in him if you agree with that. Silver for sure potential in the near future with gold upside in the summer. I didn't even know they had Delano DeShields. Lewin Diaz is actually one of my favorite mid-tier prospects. He just doesn't have any playing time. They got Jesus Aguilar. They got Garrett Cooper for first base and DH. Then you throw in Soler, who really shouldn't be in the outfield. I think there's one other guy I'm missing there that's also crowding things up. Let me see here. Brian De La Cruz, even Brian Anderson, like all of that, like the cluster of talent there, they're all solid players too. So it's like, it takes kind of multiple injuries to find Lewin Diaz some playing time right now. So as much as I like him, he's a monitor only. Do not start investing in him just yet, because right now he's just going to be in AAA. Zach Pop is a watch list guy for sure. He's got nasty stuff. It's a matter of, can he really get going and figure some things out with his command? He's got the raw stuff. Does he know what to do with it? I think he might be in the minors right now as well. So again, watch list only. And I'm seeing from chat that Garrett Cooper left after getting hit in the wrist, and he looked pissed as hell when he got hit. So he must have known that something was a little bit more severe on that. So I hope he's okay. But here's the thing, and I don't want to immediately talk about somebody's injury as a windfall for somebody else, but it wouldn't even guarantee Diaz's playing time because there's still several other guys. But just keep an eye on Lewin Diaz and Zach Pop. They're both in the minors right now. Anybody else here on the Marlins? No. Moving on to the Mets. They have Triple Diamond. You're not really investing in any of these guys. Again, I'm not investing in high-end players like this. They're good players, but they're not going to pay off on investments. And it's like, you have to have a fat bankroll to even do that. Now, this is right around the cutoff of where I would be okay investing. Pete Alonso. I'm pretty huge on Pete Alonso this year. If he keeps some of the strikeout gains that he had last year and becomes more of a complete hitter and not just an elite power guy, which, by the way, if he just stays the guy he was his rookie year, and even 20, if you combine 19 and 20, he hit 252 with 69 homers, which is very nice. There's nothing wrong with that. In last year, he hit 262, which was a career high, but only by 2 points. But he had a 20% strikeout rate. If he lives at that 20% mark, as opposed to moving back up into the mid 20s, he can hit 280, and then he becomes more of like a upper 80s, low 90s kind of guy. And then you can start to invest. So this is a big bankroll investment type. Don't go out here if you have like 20,000 or whatever. Don't go out and get Pete Alonso's if you're working with even a 50,000 bankroll. I would not get more than like 2 or 3 Pete Alonso's. But if you're one of those big dogs who puts in, enough to have 100,000 stubs, and you just want to get your shares of everybody right away, Pete Alonso can be there. But otherwise, I would say hold any duplicates that you get of Pete Alonso in packs, things like that. Lindor is a huge investment for me. I think Lindor gets back to being one of the best players in the game. Heavy diamond, into the 90s. I've already got 2 of him. I will have more, for sure. Edwin Diaz probably getting ready to point to a fly ball that's going to leave the yard in that picture. Chris Bassett can definitely get to gold. Absolutely. And if he gets to like an 83, that would be pretty much doubling your quick sell price. I can definitely see that. Chris Bassett's a solid investment. Seth Lugo, he's all about health too. We've seen how good he can be. We know the talent is there. Can he get back into mid gold? Absolutely. So I like Bassett a little bit more because he's a starter versus reliever, but I like Lugo as a nice investment too. Big Mark Canha fan, just in general. Don't necessarily think he's a huge threat for gold. In fact, Inside Edge giving us some good tips here. Plus 12s only gets him to 80. That's a lot. That's a robust upgrade, and it only gets him to 80. So I don't see Canha as a strong investment. I like him as a player, fantasy and otherwise, but not so much for our purposes here. Same with Nimmo. Plus 16s here gets him 4 points up to an 82. I just don't think that the power is really there for him to take off. I think a breakout season where everything goes crazy for Nimmo would be more of like a 290 average, like 430 OBP, or maybe not 430. That's pretty high. Like a 410 OBP, but probably still an under 500 slug. Because he just hasn't really shown big pop. He showed a little bit in the shortened season of 2020, and that's another thing too. All of his seasons are shortened because health has eluded him big time. He played 140 games in 2018, and since then he's played a combined 216. 69 in 2019. That is not nice. You need to play more than 69 games. 55 out of 60 in 20. That's good, but it's 2 months. It's a 2-month season, so we can't count it as a full season. And then 92 last year. So good talent, but probably falls more in the Canha circle where can they both get to gold? Sure, but is there really an avenue to making a bunch of stubs if you invest in them? Not really. Not unless they really play above their level. Trevor May, friend of the channel for sure, can definitely get into gold. Relievers are tough though, like I said, because they take a long time. I know he gave up a homer to start the season. It's against Juan Soto though. That barely counts. You give up a homer to the god, like what? We're going to get mad at him for giving up a homer to him? Come on. Not even. But I do think Trevor May can get back to gold, but he probably fits in the Canha Nimmo situation as well, where he can get back to gold, but is it really going to pay off in investments? Probably not. JD Davis, JD Davis is a really good hitter, y'all, but he's not even an everyday player right now. I don't really see how he becomes one, and as such, I just can't comfortably recommend him right now. If something opens up where he plays every day, I will change my tune, and you guys will see in my Discord that I'm recommending him. But as it stands right now, you do not need to go out and get JD Davis shares. Love my boy Taiwan. He's got to get healthy and get back going again. He's always on my watch list just because he's been one of my favorite pitchers since he broke into the game. But right now, you don't need to invest. I'm not a big Jeff McNeil guy. He's kind of like Nimmo. He just does not have the pop to really set himself apart. Tyler McGill. Now, this one's going to look like, well, no, duh, Paul. Everyone's in on him now. Promise you, if you read my stuff or listen to my podcast, you know I've been in on him all draft season for fantasy and everything. So I'm not just going off of the amazing debut that he had against the Nats. I really, really like Tyler McGill. I think he can have a huge breakout season. In fact, I'm going to make a call, and I'm going to make a few of these throughout the video like I did in the American League. Tyler McGill going gold this year. Book it. By the way, if you see like 3 Thomas Nitos, I'm not like invested in him. Those are just repeats. Dom Smith, okay, he's kind of like JD Davis in that the playing time is just not set in stone enough to give him an avenue to really get upgraded. However, the talent is strong, and I'm giving him a bit of a pass for last year because he was clearly hurt, and it just makes logical sense, right? Same with a guy we'll get to on the Phillies, Didi Gregorius. Like, it's not an excuse if it's the answer. I know people sometimes bristle when you talk about an injury, giving somebody a pass due to injury, but it's like, doesn't that make the most logical sense? It's not an excuse if it's just the truth. It's just what happened. Playing at a compromised level is difficult. Sometimes we throw around stuff like, I'd rather have 80% of this guy than 100% of this guy. And it's like, no, the fuck you wouldn't. Because 80% of a star level player is a pretty low tier player. And he had an 86 WRC plus last year, which that's what you get when you get like 80% of a player who can be a star level talent. He was amazing in 19 and 20, and I don't think that was a fluke. I think the injury is exactly the reason that Dom Smith fell off last year. Keep an eye on him. If the playing time starts to open up, then we start to invest. I did see somebody in chat ask if Jeff McNeil can get back to being a 300 hitter. Yes, I do see that as a possibility. However, if there's no power to follow, he probably caps out in the 79 to 81 range, which you can gain a little bit from that based on this price, but he's just not somebody that I'm aggressively looking for. The early season investments, I want guys that can blow up, that can be the stars of the year. I mentioned in the Marlins that he's my Cy Young pick, Sandy Alcantara. So that means he can go into the high 80s, into the high 80s, low 90s type. So that's the type of guys that we're looking for. We're not necessarily trying to get too much on the guys that have 4 or 5 points as their max. But I do think Jeff McNeil gets back to hitting for contact this year and hits over 300. Anybody else here? Brett Beatty is a very interesting prospect, but there's no playing time for him right now. I like Mark Vientos too. Same thing though. I mean, J.D. Davis still being there, Dom Smith still being there. There's just no room at the end for Vientos. I will say this. If there's like a mid-season trade when they're trying to trade to supplement their team for a pennant chase, if they're in contention and Vientos gets traded somewhere like Oakland or some shit, then I would be very interested in him. I think this guy has legit pop. And I mentioned Oakland in passing just because they're selling everything that isn't nailed down. They already traded Bassett to them, but maybe they trade Montas there too. But if Vientos found playing time, wherever it was, even if he's traded to Pittsburgh or something, I would be interested because he's a good hitter. He just has nowhere to play right now. See another question in chat about what should we be looking to buy somebody like McGill at? Considering that I believe he can really go, I think silver, he's 1 point away from silver, but I think high silver could be coming in a month, like by mid-May, second or third update. So in that respect, quick sell price still wouldn't be there, right? Because 79 is a 150 quick sell. But if Tyler McGill goes to a 79, then his base price is going to start to match more of Trevor May here at 475, 315. I was rounding those. I don't know why I didn't just say the actual number and I went to the fives on it. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like even Chris Bassett here, 700/524. So if you invest in McGill and he goes up to this price is fine. I'll buy this price all day. In fact, I'll buy some of these higher ones, even though they're 40 stubs higher, just because I'll put in some buy orders later. I would pay anything under 2.25 for McGill right now. And then as he moves up, just know that to really maximize him until he goes gold, you're going to have to do individual sales because the quick sell will not pay off at this price until he goes gold. But there will be a sell opportunity at 77, 78, 79 if you want to do individual sales. But if you buy 90 of him, do you want to list all 90 of those? Probably not. So make sure you are investing relative to the work that you want to put in. Now, I'm going to hold for gold on McGill. I'm holding all year. Unless things fall apart or he gets hurt, I'm holding for gold. So I'll be holding until, June or July or whatever, depending on how the season goes. But your mileage may vary on that. Moving over to Philly. They've got 2 diamonds. They're both solid. No need to invest in them. Same with Real Muto. Nola's actually pretty cheap at 1269, 1012 there for an 82. I actually thought he'd be a bit higher. He was super unlucky last year, right? His ERA was way higher than his FIP and Sierra and all the ERA indicators because the defense did him dirty. Now, I know you're thinking, well, the defense sucks shit again this year. What's going to change? Maybe nothing. But that same defense gave Zach Wheeler a 278 ERA, right? So it's not like he can't. It's not like Nola can't have a great ERA. It's just that he happened to be the unlucky one. So keep that in mind. Obviously, it could go the other way again, and he could be unlucky and have a shit ERA. But if the skills are there, ERA is not counted on here. ERA does not matter. And SDS is not going to be ignoring Aaron Nola if he has a 30% strikeout rate and a 5% walk rate, even if his ERA is at 4.63 again. So keep that in mind. We'd love to see a shiny ERA, especially if you bought him in fantasy, but it's not necessary if he keeps the elite skills that he had last year. So he's a nice little high-end investment if you want to invest in some golds. Speaking of Schwarber and Casti, you know what? I was gonna say one or the other. That's why I hesitated. Fuck it. Diamond for both of them. I'm calling it. Calling my shot on both of them. I think both get to diamond this year. Casti's been there, so that's not that spicy of a call. I admit that. Schwarber's never been diamond, I don't believe. He's had diamond cards, but I don't think his live series has ever gotten into diamond. I'm in. I'm a big Ranger Suarez fan, y'all. I could definitely see him getting into the high gold range, which will be plenty enough to pay off on this price point. The thing that I don't really understand with the people that were out on him was there was a lot of talk about like, and listen, I'm not taking shots at my boy. I love Nick Pollock. He was one of the ones saying this, so it's going to seem like I'm taking a direct shot at him. He brought up the schedule a lot, and I grant that the schedule was trash. I could have done well against that schedule. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. However, nobody wants, or not wants, everyone would want it, but nobody is saying that Ranger Suarez is going to maintain a 1.36 ERA. The thing of it is, the skills that he had underneath, the 26% strikeout rate, the 8% walk rate, and the 1 whip, I believe a lot of that is legitimate. So I am really, really excited about Ranger Suarez here, and definitely think that he's somebody who can get into gold again and be a worthy investment. Plus, and Eric, you took the words out of my mouth there, and I'm reading my Twitch chat, 67 stamina. That will go up too. He finished the season with a handful of 6-inning starts. He showed that he can be a true starter. So I think the stamina will go up into the mid-70s. Strikeout rate's going to go way up. Walk rate can go up. I don't see any way that if he pitches the way he can, I definitely think he's going gold relatively soon. By the way, you'll already know this by the time anybody watches the American League video, but for those of you in the Twitch chat right now, a Tampa Bay Ray that I mentioned, Tommy Romero, as a sneak tip, way deep common, is already getting called up. So there you go. Didn't take long. Oh, I love this whole row right here. Well, actually, Kyle Gibson probably caps out at a high silver. He might spike a low gold. The reason I really liked him in fantasy this year was just for the opening couple of starts. He gets Oakland and then at Miami. Very nice starts, but he's more of a streamer type. But the other three, I think, are all investments to go gold. Hoskins could go diamond as well, to be honest, but I'm not going to go triple diamond on Castellanos, Schwarber, and Hoskins. I'm going to stick with my Castellanos and Schwarber, but I do think Hoskins gets into a solid gold tier and can definitely pay off on this price point. Corey Knebel is a beast. He's going to be their closer. If he can cut that walk rate a bit, he's definitely a high gold. And then Didi. I mentioned this when I was talking about Dom Smith. Excuse me. I shouldn't have drank the carbonated drink there. Didi Gregorius had an elbow issue that he had cleaned up in the offseason. And to me, that fully explains why he was so bad last year. A guy like him who has an established track record of quality all of a sudden falls off and puts up a 68 WRC plus at age 31. And I'm supposed to be like, this guy's just dog shit now? No shot. I just don't buy it. So I'm betting on a comeback for him. If the health is there, right? Obviously, surgery is always something that you don't want, right? Like, let me rephrase that. You want to get yourself fixed, but surgery is always serious, is what I should say. When they say minor surgery, it's always minor surgery when it's not happening to you. Otherwise, if you're being cut open, that shit's important. That shit's serious, or even a scope. So, the only reason I bring that up is like, hopefully everything's good to go and it worked and he gets back to health. There are no guarantees. However, I'm willing to take the shot that the surgery fixed him and that he can get back on track and get back to being the DD that we saw put up a 109 WRC plus from 2017 to 2020. Now that's not eye-popping. I'm not predicting diamond or anything like that. I think low gold. However, if he gets to low gold, say 80 or 81, that can pay off on a quick sell even at this price point. If I pay 180 to 200 for a bunch and he goes to 80, I'll double my price. I'm fine with that. That's not a huge payoff, but it's enough payoff for me to be interested in Didi Gregorius for sure. Nobody else there. Bryson Stott. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Bryson Stott didn't get a lot of rookie hype. He's actually really fairly priced here. Really, really impressive rookie that a lot of people were worried, like, well, how's he going to play with Bohm and Didi there? Well, Bohm has had a disastrous year last year. Stott had an excellent spring, and he broke camp, and now he's kind of the primary third baseman. There's a ton of upside here. I am super, super in on Bryson Stott. This price point can't hurt you either. You can get 50 of him and, just hang on for the long haul and see what happens there. It will not hurt you. We know Jose Alvarado can be good. I would not invest in him. I would just keep an eye out. His walk rate went through the roof last year. That's why it went down to a 22 in game. But we know he's got the talent to be much better than that. Just keep an eye out, right? I think he's flirted with gold or even been in gold before. He's usually a firm silver, but he had a 19% walk rate. He has to fix that to get back even into silver, let alone threaten gold. But relievers are volatile, and we know from year to year that they can go up and down like a freaking EKG. We've seen him put up a 30% strikeout rate before with an 11% walk rate. 11% is still pretty high, but it's a hell of a lot better than 19%. An 11% mark would probably push him up into the high 40s, while a 30% strikeout rate would probably push him into the mid 80s. That would probably be enough to get him into silver. So just keep an eye on him. Do not invest in Jose Alvarado yet. Just make sure you're keeping tabs on what he's doing. Didn't Connor Brogdon have a pretty good year last year? Or am I remembering somebody else? Let me take a look. He didn't really have the strikeouts. He does have some swing and miss though. But a 21% strikeout rate says that he needs to kind of figure out how to get those swings and misses. So keep him on your watch list. With relievers, and I mentioned this in the AL video, they take a long time in general. So any of these bronzes that I'm recommending as relievers, just know that you got to be in for the long haul. Even somebody like Spencer Strider, who I'm very excited about, he's going to get a nice boost immediately. Well, as long as he doesn't fall apart here, before the first update. But based on what we've seen from him so far, we feel like he'll get a nice update immediately just to bronze. But then it'll take another couple weeks to get, into silver. So relievers take time. So if you're not willing to be patient, just don't invest in them. Invest to the comfort level that you have with players. Mickey Moniak's such a bummer, man. He had a really big spring. It was looking like he was going to get the strong side of the platoon in center field, and now he's hurt for a little bit. Fractured hand. Such a bummer, man. Keep an eye on him when he comes back, but I'm kind of bummed. Next up is going to be the Central, I believe. Oh, the Nats. Pardon me. Sorry, Nats fans. I didn't mean to forget your ball club. I didn't mean to forget you guys. You guys got some interesting guys here. Let's get into it. Starting with, honestly, Josh Bell is a little higher priced than I thought he would be. I was getting ready to recommend him. I thought he'd be under 2,000, but the market's already pretty tight on him, so I probably wouldn't jump in. I do think he gets back to gold this year, but other than that, I don't think it's really investable right now. Anybody here? Kybert Ruiz is interesting, but the market is already pretty tight on him too. A bronze for this much, that's saying that they already know, so you can't really invest in him yet. This, I saw somebody in chat, Soto to 99. I mean, listen. Oh, chat, never mind. Chat just hit on the City Connect is going to overprice all these guys. That's a great call. All right, so we will keep that in mind for the rest of these, this team here. I'll mention some guys that if they come down once the City Connect gets a little bit further in the rear view that we can get in on. But for now, we're not getting in on any of these guys. They're all overpriced. And Riven asked about Soto. Can he get up into the 90s? For sure. For sure. However, you got to be high dollar to be doing a $32,000 investment, right? What are you going to get? 4 or 5 shares of him? Like, if you got your bankroll like that, by all means, do your thing. But I ain't got it like that. I can't even afford one Soto right now, let alone Juan Soto. That was stupid. That didn't even make any fucking sense. What am I saying? I do like Lane Thomas, but you can't pay this price right now, so keep him on the... All Nats are watch list right now. All the Nats recommendations are watch list. Josiah Gray, if he gets those homers in check, he's got great strikeout upside. Watch list. And that's about it for them. So, yeah. Like Austin Voth is a watch list. Finnegan, whatever. Not a whole lot to go off of here. All their best players are already up here and overpriced because of the City Connect. So I get it. Like, obviously Cruz is going to go gold at some point this year, I bet. I could even see Cesar Hernandez getting there, but you can't invest in Bell, Hernandez, or Cruz at these prices. No shot. And even Ruiz at this price. Ruiz is the one to look at, though. Keep an eye on him when the City Connect prices smooth out. Then you go and get some Keibert Ruiz. But until then, you just can't do it. When he was down here at 150, you invest in him all day. But we have to wait. We have to wait a little bit. Cubbies. Now we're into the Central. Cubbies, man. Hats off to the freaking Cubs destroying the 3 aces in Milwaukee. Really impressive stuff. I did not see that coming, and I freaking tip my cap to them. How the hell is Nico Horn? Oh, his defense and speed. Okay, I was like, how is he a gold? I did not realize that. Wilson Contreras. Are these guys overpriced because of City Connect 2 or something? I guess these aren't as bad. Never mind. Oh, and the Nats have the individual program. That's right. I was thinking of the larger program. But anyway, I don't really see anybody in these top 2 rows that I love. These guys are in the event, though. Happ is coming back down from being supercharged. Let his price smooth back down a bit before you get in on him. I do like Ian Happ. He's shown flashes a couple different times. The upside is there for like a premium breakout season. However, until we actually get that price back down, I would not invest just yet. Whoops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to skip over there. Cal Hendricks had a great debut. I'm not paying this price for him. And I got to be honest, y'all, as good as he looked against Milwaukee on opening day, where's the real upside? Because his best trait is his control, and he's already an 85 there. If he breaks back out, that's a weird way to say it. If he rebounds to the level that he'd been for several years, the hits 9 will probably go up into the low 80s. Cool. That'll get him into silver, but is there even really gold upside? Probably not. So I wouldn't really worry about Hendricks. You can put Justin Steele on your watch list because he's got some nasty stuff, but he's very raw. He's very, very raw. Jonathan VR is a better fantasy player than he is for anything like this. Same with Ortega. D-Rob. Now, D-Rob looked amazing on opening day. That knuckle curve was back into the Yankees vintage. I was like, oh, we went into the reserves there. Sorry, that was like a wine reference. I don't drink wine, so I was trying to make a reference there that I was ill-equipped to make. Oh, I didn't even realize that the Brewers came back today, but they still beasted on Freddie Peralta. David Robertson could definitely get back to silver if his curveball is back in line with what he's able to do. He is older, but we know relievers sometimes can be ageless, so I wouldn't be surprised. I've always had a soft spot for him too, so let me just call out my bias. I'm a big David Robertson fan, so I kind of want this to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to, but at this price point, you can't really be hurt even if you do invest in him. Like, I'll call out that Drew Smyly has the talent to go to silver, but he never really has the health, so I probably wouldn't invest in him. Anybody else here? Cody Hoyer got Tommy John, which sucks. We know Clint Frazier has the talent to go silver. It's just a matter of kind of putting it all together consistently. consistently. His consistency has been a big problem. He's been up and down. His defense has been all over the place. So I would probably just keep an eye on him. I don't think I would really go in. And then none of their comments are really jumping out to me here, at least as far as early investments. Let's go over to the Reds. Tyler Mahle, I didn't have his card yet, and he got supercharged. I was like, I can't buy it when it's freaking 2,500 off the supercharge. Joey Votto going diamond. There it is. Now that one, I will say, is a little bit of favoritism toward one of my favorite players in the entire league. Do I believe it? Yes. I wouldn't tell you guys if I didn't believe it. But is it a little bit more of like, I really want this to happen, as opposed to, oh, this is firmly in the numbers, like it is with, say, like Schwarber and Castellanos? Yes. However, the reason I do believe this, I'll give you the case too. We saw the power spike last year, right? He is committed to this power renaissance here. And he made some big changes to his bat to get his bat speed even a bit quicker, because I think he really wants to get his batting average back up. I think he really doesn't like being a 260s something type of hitter. I think he wants to push back up into the 290s, if not into the 300s. So if you're combining, higher batting average with the kind of power that we saw last year, there's no reason that he wouldn't be diamond. So I do think that at this price point, there's definitely some viability to investing in Joey Votto. And, even if he just got to base diamond 85, that'll pay off on a quick sell. 3,000 is the quick sell for an 85. So don't go crazy. He's still 38, but he's an awesome player. He's one of the smartest players in the game. And if you're not following his social medias, you absolutely need to do that. I love Tyler Mahle, guys, but he's half a pitcher, man. He can't pitch at home. He has like a 5.62 ERA at home for his career, not just last year. So you just can't. I mean, remember how much pain we went through with him last year? Every time he was about to get upgraded, he'd have a home start and give up 5 runs. I think he did eventually go gold for us, but it took freaking forever because those damn home starts. Why couldn't they trade him? They traded Sonny Gray. Why couldn't they put Tyler Mahle in a more neutral ballpark? I do love the talent, though. Oh, I just noticed they have 3 Tylers in a row. My favorite is T-Step. Tyler Stevenson, easy gold. Definitely calling it. Consider this one a locked-in call as well. I would not even be surprised if he could push to diamond. Now, it would take a long time. We'll be talking summer, late June, early July type of deal. But I really do think that gold is going to be happening relatively quickly. The power is where it's going to come from. There is not a lot of power in his numbers, right? You're not looking at his profile and saying, oh, it's obvious right here, here, and here. But I'm looking at somebody who's 6'4", 2.25. As a catcher, catchers always take a little bit longer. And he's not even old, by the way. He's 25. But like, it takes a couple years for them to establish themselves, because whenever a catcher comes up, first and foremost, they are told to focus on the catching. Your hitting will come when it comes. We need you to manage the staff and be strong defensively. Tyler Stevenson is going to be coming into his own this year. I think he has a power breakout. It's going to definitely yield gold, and I think there's diamond upside. At this price point, I'm in all day. What was the price point that was here? Damn, y'all just changed that on a fucking dime. Thanks for nothing. I like Lucas Sims, but he's already hurt, so I wouldn't be investing in him. Was Jonathan India supercharged? Because his price is through the roof. Tommy Pham. I could see Tommy Pham going gold for sure, but he's a little expensive already too. And he'd have to get to an 82, which is 7 points, to even have like quick sell viability. So with his health profile, I'm too scared of it, so I wouldn't invest. But I do just want to put out there that I do like Tommy Pham. I do think he's a really good player. It's just about health. Nick Senzel has big breakout potential. He's a health issue too, though, right? We know that health has eluded him throughout his career. So while I do like him, be careful, right? So don't overinvest. But at this price, it's very much worth getting in on. Hunter Green. Yeah, look at that price. That's not surprising. He was out there throwing 100-mile-an-hour BBs today. It's too late to get in right now. You got to wait for the price to smooth out again. You can't pay for him at that price. There's no upside at that point. Even if you believe that he can go gold in the summer, it's like he has to pay off. So if you didn't get in early, you're too late, which means I am because I don't have any, as you can see. Art Warren's a really interesting reliever. He has the potential to easily go silver. Like, in fact, I'll call silver for him. Gold would take quite a bit, but Art Warren was really, really good last year. I love Jake Fraley, man. I was a little bit bummed about that Tommy Pham move just because when Jake Fraley got traded over from Seattle, I was like, oh shit, he's going to pop off because the park change was huge and I thought he was going to play every day. He's still going to play against most righties. There should be plenty of playing time for him, but I am a little bit nervous about going too crazy in my investment for him just because they do have a handful of guys that can definitely play as well. Like Aristides Aquino's going to get in. Brandon Drury, Pham himself. So they've got a little bit of a clutter. I'm still going to invest in some Jake Fraley because he's cheap enough that he can pop off. Nick Lodolo. Now, don't get caught looking the way we did with Hunter Green. If you like Nick Lodolo, get in now before he starts because you know that if he has a badass first start, he's going to pop off. He's actually already pretty expensive. Damn, never mind. Y'all are already on him. You guys are vultures out here. I love it. I respect it. But it's probably too late now. You can't pay this price for a bronze. Tony Santillan, really good as a reliever. Let me pull up the splits real quick just because they were so strong. I was looking at this the other day when he got that save. He had a little bit of a hybrid role last year. And as a reliever, he had 26 2/3 innings with 36 strikeouts and 11 walks. He had a 1.01 whip. That's really good. So I definitely think bronze is coming for Santillan. If he continues to pitch like this as a reliever, you can definitely get in on this price point. Just be ready, though, that you will have to sell him individually because the quick sell won't be worth it until gold. And I'm not predicting gold for him. Let me be clear. I'm not predicting gold for Santillan. I'm talking silver. Spiderneck, best player in the league. I'm too afraid to say anything negative about him. Luis Cessa, he's a good, solid middle reliever, but I really think he'll be more of a high bronze than even a silver. So, my boy, Jose Barrero. Keep an eye on his recovery. He got hurt. I think he was going to make the team, even if he wasn't going to be the starting shortstop over Farmer. I think he was going to make the team and play a super util. He's really good, y'all. His 2 MLB samples so far have not been all that great. I freely admit that. The talent is there, though. Once he gets healthy and gets called back up, then we start to jump in. You can get a little bit right now because he's so cheap, but, just keep it in check because, again, if you get 150 shares of him and he only goes up to a high bronze, yeah, you can cash in on that, but you're going to have to individually sell all of those. So just make sure that you're comfortable doing that. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of shares on your hand that you don't know what you want to do with. And that's going to be it for the Reds. Moving over to the Brewers, I already mentioned that their freaking aces all got mollywopped by the GD Cubs. Oh, by the way, they don't have Seiya Suzuki's card yet. You know he'll be expensive as hell when he comes out. But if he only comes in as a silver, then we'll wait for his price to level out, and then we'll go from it. I'll talk about it when he comes out. I don't want to speculate too much right now because it could all be blown up if he comes in at a low gold or something. Let's see here. If you are a Richie Rich, that's not a terrible price for Peralta. Because I definitely think he can get back to Diamond. And if he goes into 86, 87, I mean, even at 85, that's like an 800 payoff. But to really be worth it, he'd have to go 86 or higher. But that's certainly possible. So if you like Freddie Peralta, do not be dissuaded by today's start against the Cubs. He'll be fine. Damn, they gave Renfroe really really good ratings. He's kind of where he belongs. Could he get diamond? He'd really have to improve the contact. He's more of a traditional power guy, right? He's going to hit like 240, but he could hit 35 homers, strong defense. He's actually got sneaky speed there, as you can see with a 54. But as much as I love Renfroe, he's kind of as is. I would not invest in him. I wouldn't really invest in Dev either. I know he can push up higher, but he has to go diamond to pay off. And do you really want to wait that long? No. Sorry, Yelich, I did skip right over you. It's such a bummer. It's just not great, Bob. I mean, he's cheap. If you believe in the bounce back, go ahead and get in. But I'm not. I'm not buying in right now. Willie Adames, one of our biggest hits last year. We held for gold. He got traded over to Milwaukee and just dominated. It was awesome. I definitely think he gets back into gold this year. Definitely see him as a worthy investment because he can go high gold and then he can definitely pay off on this price point. And I said definitely like 5 times in that comment. Luis Urias is hurt right now, which is a bummer. I do like him. I do think he can get into gold this year. I wouldn't go crazy investing in him though because he's already hurt. I try to limit investing in guys that are already hurt right now, just because you're just adding volatility to your portfolio, and it's just going to be harder to pay off. Now, sometimes it creates a good enough buying opportunity that you do it because the upside is so rich. I don't think the upside is so rich here with Urias that you should go buy a shit ton right now while he's nicked. Because I wouldn't even be surprised if he kind of caps out at like a 78 to 81, which is not going to pay off massively for you. McCutcheon's actually kind of sneaky interesting if he gets going against righties. I wouldn't invest in him, but I am keeping a close eye on him. Omar Narvaez and Rowdy Tellez, gold. I'm calling gold for both of them in the summer this year. I think they both get there. I think it's going to take a while. When I say summer, I'm talking June, July. So I think it's going to be a longer term situation. I think both get gold this year, though. I really, really like both of them. I am a little bit mad that Tellez is probably going to be platooned. That's why they have Mike Brasso there or whatever. He doesn't need to be platooned, though. He doesn't have a platoon split. He's handled lefties throughout his career very capably. I think he should play every day, but he's probably going to sit against some lefties. You can see right here, 66-60. Like, he does not have a colossal platoon. He crushes righties, and he's good enough against lefties. But I do think he's got the upside to be a solid gold, and so I'm calling gold for Tellez. And Narvaez, by the way. And with Narvaez, he's a bigger platoon than... He has more of a platoon issue than Tellez. However, at catcher, they don't really have a great platoon option for him. Now, they did get Victor Caratini after Pedro Severino, I think, was popped for PEDs. So they do have an option for him, and he will sit like any catcher does. However, I think that he can hit well enough against righties and get a little bit back on track against lefties, right? Last year, he was dreadful against lefties. 434 OPS. That is horrendous. But he had a 184 BABIP. And he's a 253 career BABIP, which is still pretty low, but 184, come on. So that's going to regress, get him back on track a little bit against lefties, even just get him into like 45 contact, 50 power against lefties. That would do so much for him. And if he's popping off against righties, then I do see Narvaez getting to gold this year, and that's why I have a summer gold prediction. Speaking of Brasso, don't really see him as an investment opportunity. He's a lefty destroyer. That's all. Eric Lauer's a solid pitcher, but high bronze is probably his cap. He just does not strike out enough guys. Here's a really interesting guy in Aaron Ashby. He's going to be in a swingman role right now, multi-inning relief stints, the occasional start. If Eric Lauer, or more likely Adrian Hauser, relents their starting role, we could see Aaron Ashby go into more of a consistent starter's role. I'm reluctant to go too crazy investing in him. I love the price, so I will have some shares. But I'm not going to have like 100 Aaron Ashbys just because I think this year's probably going to be a hybrid role. I don't think he'll be starting. I don't think he'll get more than, say, 15 starts. I think that's the max. Unless something just pushes them. Either one, injury just pushes them into having to start him more, or 2, he just pops off and totally develops right in front of us and ends up taking over a starter's role. I think he's more of a 2023 breakout, but I love the talent, so I would not be surprised if it comes sooner than that. So again, medium investment here. And then anything else? I'm not in on it, guys. I'm not in on the Keston Hiura rebound. He did have a strong spring, but it still came with a 33% strikeout rate. So it's still just the Keston Hiura that we know. He can hit for power when he's dialed in, but he does not make enough consistent contact. I'm not investing. If he starts popping off and cutting the strikeout rate, I will pivot, right? There's nothing wrong with changing if the information changes. But right now, Keston Hiura is still the same guy that we've been worried about in the past, and so I'm still worried. And then that's it for the Brewers. We go over to the Pirates. That's not a bad price for Brian Reynolds. I think he has diamond upside for sure. I think he definitely get back into the mid 80s, or the high 80s, I should say. He's already in the mid 80s. But yeah, probably not 90s or anything. But I do think, 86 to 88 range is certainly possible. And if he just goes, 86, that can certainly pay off on this price point. It's a little bit higher end, like I've been saying on these. Anybody that's, over 2,000, unless your bankroll is huge, that's a big chunk of it. So, don't go crazy on Brian Reynolds unless you have a fat bankroll. But I do believe in the talent. Bottom line, the point I'm trying to put across here is I totally believe in him as a stud player. My boy Cabrizi had a little scare on opening day when he kind of landed awkwardly on his wrist. We thought, oh no, is that wrist flaring up again? It was a cramp. It's all good. He was back the next day. I do really like him for a breakout, but he's kind of priced a little high now. I think because of this price point, I'm a little reluctant on it, and I'm probably passing on investing in him. David Bednar's a G. I can definitely see David Bednar going gold. I reiterate my point about patience with relievers. If you're not a patient investor, don't get a reliever that's 4 points away from gold. Because we need him to go. We really probably need him to go, to 80. Yeah, well, 80. If he goes to gold, his quick sell will only be 400, but his actual price will probably be closer to like 800 or 900, which there's some wiggle room there, but it's not crazy. So I like David Bednar, but I don't think I would go nuts. There's not going to be a whole lot for the Pirates, let's be honest. They're one of the worst teams in the league for a reason. Here he is. Yoshi. I like Yoshi a lot, y'all. This dude has a bat. Like he can really hit. And I think it's a little bit slept on. Now, I know he went 0 for 5 with 4 punchies today. So it's not really helping my case on the day that I'm doing this. But the actual talent is definitely there. I'll call silver on him. That's a 9-point boost. That's pretty substantial. So I'm not going to call gold. That's pretty out there. But I really do like Yoshi. Oh, yeah, I skipped over O'Neill. I just assumed that his price would be too high. Oh, it's actually not. Okay, so O'Neill Cruz got sent down. Which, listen, if you've been in the stream or watched my videos enough, I am not above calling teams out when I think they're pulling bullshit. I actually think that it's fine that he got sent down. I don't think that it's totally out of pocket to send down a guy who had a week at AAA. All these other teams that are calling guys up, well, not all of them. Julio Rodriguez skipped AAA, but Julio Rodriguez is arguably the best prospect in all of baseball. So sending down somebody like O'Neill Cruz, especially because I think they want him to work a little bit more in the outfield, because he's 6'7", like it's really awkward for him to be at shortstop. He had 29 plate appearances at AAA and 9 in the majors. Now, he did hit 6 homers in that time, but that does not mean that you mastered those 2 levels. So at age 23, I get it. Now, if they call him up right at that first deadline where they get the extra year of service time, then we can call it out as manipulation. Because then come on, you're not learning anything in fucking 2 weeks. But if he's down there for a month to 6 weeks, and it's very clear that, hey, he had to go down there and sharpen up some things, I totally get it. So I'm not looking to kill them off of that. I didn't think that was totally out of pocket to send him down. Oh, and there's going to be one other guy for sure. If Travis Swaggerty gets called up, keep tabs on him. He's got a really strong bat. That's not the guy I'm thinking of though. Oh, there's two more for sure. Here's one. Ronzi Contreras. He's nasty. He's got nasty stuff. I think he pitched out of the bullpen yesterday. Really excited for what he can do. Gives the Pirates a really electric arm. Came over from the Yankees. Don't be surprised if he pushes up into silver. I think that's certainly possible. It'll be an up and down year. He's super volatile, but he's single digits right now. So, the silver is not a call. I'm not saying he's going silver, but that is his upside. And at fucking 10, under 10 stubs, that's a big potential payoff. And then where's my other guy? Do they not have Diego Castillo? Oh, that's a bummer. Damn. I like Diego Castillo, not the pitcher, but the hitter. He's a middle infielder. Now he doesn't have a guaranteed spot right now, but I don't think Kevin Newman is pushing anybody out of the way right now. I like Diego Castillo. I think he's a really strong bat. And as playing time opens up, I think he's gonna be one of those guys that plays, a few times a week for sure. And if he asserts himself, then I think some of the other guys are going to start losing playing time to him, namely Kevin Newman, but also like a Hoy Park. Like neither of their first or neither their second nor shortstop is so locked off that that Diego Castillo can't overtake them. So I really do like him. Oh, and then Mitch Keller, of course. We know he had the big spring and the big off season where he was coming back throwing 100. The cards definitely got to him off rip. Again, I mentioned this in the AL video, and I think already at least once in this video. Do not let the first start of somebody that you believe in take you off of him. Vice versa, do not think that you were wrong if you were against somebody and they go out and have a great first start. You'd be like, oh, I got that one wrong. 1 start, 2 start, 3 start. You need a month at least before you start making decision changes. And the only difference on that is if there are clear skill changes off rip. So if, say, for example, you are off on a guy and he comes in his first 2 starts and he's throwing 3 miles an hour faster than he was throwing, and he's got some badass slider that you didn't know about or that he never threw before, and there's like a clear change. Well, then you can adjust quickly and say, okay, I got that wrong. I'm jumping in on this guy. But if he's virtually the same guy that you didn't love prior to that, and he's just having a few good starts, I would not necessarily change my opinion. Everything's case by case, but I'm giving general ideas here. If you liked Mitch Keller based on that hot spring training and the new velocity and everything, do not let 4 runs in 4 innings against a quality team like the Cards dissuade you from that. He still had a 13% swinging strike rate, which is really good. And he did get 4 strikeouts. So there were still some positives to take away from it. The Cardinals are fucking good. And it was on the road. So I'm not changing my tune on anybody after just a couple starts. So Mitch Keller is dirt cheap. Get in there if you like him. And keep an eye on when they add Diego Castillo. Because like I said, he's not in here, but I do like him. He might be in one of the free agents, but there's too many pages of free agents for me to go look there. So just Diego Castillo, the hitter, just keep that in your mind. Speaking of those Cardinals, they are looking robust early on. My goodness. Nobody in the top row really jumps out to me. Flaherty's hurt, of course. Tyler O'Neill's already super high priced because he was supercharged. But this second row, these top 2 guys, double diamond. I'm calling it for both of them. I think both Giovanni Gallegos and Harrison Bader get to diamond this year. Gallegos might take a little longer because he's a reliever. I've said that a bunch, but I'm going to reiterate that. Relievers take time. Bader, obviously, it'll go as his hitting goes. The defense is already there. The speed's already there. As his hitting goes, he will get upgraded. It'll take 2 upgrades, right? He will not, unless he's just out of his gourd with like a 1,500 OPS for 5 weeks or something. It's not going to be a 1 upgrade thing. He'll get upgraded to like 83, and then he'll get upgraded to diamond. I love Harrison Bader, though. I think he's got all the tools to be a full-scale breakout. DC, the Brain Supreme, I got him for a big breakout as well. Definitely gold for Dylan Carlson. Diamond potential. I'm not making a full diamond call right now, but I'm investing in him, and I'm going to be holding through gold and just playing it out for the whole season right now. Well, not for the whole season. Obviously, I'll adjust as things go, and we'll see what happens. But I'm not going to immediately sell as soon as Carlson goes gold. I'm in for a long time. If Edmundo Sosa got the job at short, I'd be a bit more intrigued. I think he's sharing time right now. Actually, has he even played yet? He hasn't even played yet, outside of maybe some pinch hit appearances. He hasn't drawn a start yet. So Paul DeJong is drawing all 3 starts at short, and I get it. Paul DeJong's put some numbers up on the board for them. He's been a career 102 WRC plus, over 2,181 plate appearances. Like that matters, right? That carries weight with the team. He's still just 28, so I understand why they're playing him. I don't think it's like egregious that DeJong's playing over Sosa. But if something happens and a role opens up for Sosa, then I'm jumping in on the investment, because he's got some really interesting skills. He's got the defense to hold any position on the infield. But the thing of it is everything's pretty locked up right now. If they're committing to DeJong, obviously he's not going to overtake first base. He's not really first baseman anyway, but Goldie's locked that up. Arenado's locked up third base, and Tommy Edmonds locked up second base right now. So it's going to be tough for Sosa to find his playing time, but I really do like him. You always have to be mindful of what Jordan Hicks is doing, because he's got some of the most electric stuff in the game. This is a guy who could feasibly go gold this year, or be pushed all the way down to common. It's that volatile. So, let that volatility index drive how interested you are in investing in him. Newt Barr just doesn't have any playing time right now. Anybody else here on the cards? Nobody that's really jumping out right now. There's no playing time for Yepez. Saw him at the Arizona Fall League and really liked him. He also had a terrible defense in spring, and that kind of sealed his fate going back to the minors. And yes, Jordan Hicks is starting, so he's going to move to SP in the first update. By the way, that usually means just moving RP to SP is usually a 3 to 5 point boost, depending. So he might move to silver just based off of that. However, the quick sell price for silver isn't enough to try to take advantage of that. You can take advantage of it if his price goes up because of it. Where are the silvers on this team? Steven Matz, okay, his price would probably be something around Steven Matz, Miles Michaelis. So if you go in and you buy a bunch at 90 to 100 and he goes to silver, then you could probably expect to get 300 to 250 when he goes to silver. So that might be worth it. That might be worth it there for Jordan Hicks, just off of that move alone, because he is the 5th starter. I like Johan Oviedo. There's just no time. He's super raw too. So this is a watch list name. I like the raw talent. Chat saying Cody Whitley deserves an upgrade. I'm not too familiar with him, but middle reliever, a name to know. All right, going over to Diamondbacks. Let me catch another water drink. I'm gonna call it on Varsho. He's going gold. I really like this bat, man. He's awesome. He's a big fantasy pickup this year because he qualifies at catcher. And anytime you can get somebody who qualifies at catcher but doesn't actually have to play there and can hit, that is so huge in fantasy. Because catching in general is putting you in harm's way. Foul tips and shit like that. Bats coming, swing throughs that can hit you on the backswing. So much stuff can happen to put you in harm's way and get hurt. He's also terrible at catching, but I really, really like Dalton Varsho. I would even say he has diamond candidacy. I'm not making a call on that. I am calling gold, but diamond is at least a potential. This is a legit badass hitter. And, we talk about a lot of, particularly with the guys on the Jays, sons of former players. Some of y'all might not know, Gary Varsho, was a major leaguer. So Dalton Varsho is also the son of a major leaguer. And you don't always have to be the son of somebody who was a stud major leaguer. Gary Varsho had 8 years in the league, a true pro. He knows what's up. And I like when these guys come in. The one thing that you should feel really confident in most of the time, right? Nothing's 100%. But usually these guys are going to come in, and the knowing how to deal with being a pro is usually there day one. Like, so the off the field stuff and dealing with the media and things like that. That stuff's usually locked and loaded day one. So you don't have to worry about that. It's a matter of just making sure that the skills are playing the way they're supposed to. And Dalton Varsho really started to break out in the second half of last year. I think he takes another step forward this year, and he gets gold. And Hale points out in chat, +4s to lefty right now already gives him +2. So he's already on the cusp of a substantial move. If he has a big start, he's going gold quickly. So get your Dalton Varsho shares for sure. I've had a soft spot for David Peralta for a long time. Now, Inside Edge tells us the opposite here, unfortunately. +11s only gets him 2 points. So it's going to take a while to get gold, but I do think that David Peralta has a big chance to get back to gold this year. He did work, I think he did some, was it with Michael Brantley or a Michael Brantley game plan? I actually didn't get to read the article at The Athletic, but someone linked it to me when I was hyping up Peralta on my podcast, and I compared him to Michael Brantley. They're like, oh, funny you say that, because he actually went on like a Michael Brantley plan to try to keep himself physically fit and everything, because Peralta's had a lot of injury issues. Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yes, +4s is not necessarily getting him to 78. That's a great call out. I have him P1 for parallel 1. That's a great call out, Tiger Man. Thank you. So scratch that previous point about +4s giving him 2 points. It might give him 1 point, but it probably doesn't give him 2 points on its own. That's a great call out. I forgot about that. But I do like David Peralta to get to gold. Probably going to take a bit longer than Varsho. I'm still very hype on Varsho for gold, by the way. That doesn't change any of my hype for him for gold. It's just not going to be as quickly as I thought, because +4s is not going to get him there right away. Nobody else really jumping. I will say Merrill Kelly had a really interesting spring, and I talked about this in the in the American League one, about certain spring metrics that you can actually pay attention to actually give you some viability of like, oh, that might hint at something. Strikeouts and walks are the easiest ones. Merrill Kelly, 12 punchies in 13 punchies in 7 innings with 1 hit in spring. Even if that's against AA and AAA guys, that there is still viability in that, because he's getting the swing and miss. So he's tightening up his arsenal and looking a lot better. And he opened with 7 Ks in 4 innings against the Padres. So we're already seeing in his first start that some of that strikeout stuff is coming to the fore. So I like Merrill Kelly. I think he's obviously going to go silver. He's 1 point away. That's not even much of a call. There is gold upside here, though, too. So keep an eye on Merrill Kelly for sure. Seth Beer obviously had the big breakout, the big breakthrough hit with the walk-off home run. His price has already come back down to very fair levels after being supercharged. So if you want to get in on him, I do think there's silver upside for Seth Beer. Pavin Smith is somebody I really like. I actually compare him a lot to David Peralta as somebody who's a high contact guy whose power kind of developed after a few years in the majors. So I would really only cap out at silver for Pavin Smith right now. I'm not ready to make some big bold call that he goes gold this year because of the lack of power. But I'm a sucker for guys that have good plate skills, and he makes a shit ton of contact with a decent walk rate, and that plays. And if he can tap into a little extra power, then who knows? Maybe there is gold potential this year. But for now, silver for Pavin Smith. Geraldo Perdomo is a really interesting prospect. I'm surprised that they put his power that low. Is he that bad? Maybe he has that punchless, but I thought he had a little bit more pop than that in the minors. I'm checking right now. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. In AA last year, he had a 126 ISO. That's very low. So I get it. The way he would improve, of course, would be via the power. So if he taps into some power this year, he could improve quite a bit. For now, though, I'm just going to keep him on the watch list. I'm not even going to invest in Geraldo Perdomo, but I do like the talent. Long term for sure, but that doesn't help us. Long term meaning like 2023, 2024 type of deal. And he did have some good time in the majors last year. It was only 37 plate appearances though, so I can't go too much off of that. Anybody down here? Not real. Oh, you know what? Cooper Hummel. And I got to give shouts to my boy, Alex Chamberlain, my colleague over at Fangraphs, is a big Cooper Hummel stan. And Hummel had a big 3-run homer in the 9th inning tonight for his first of the season, first of his career. He's a late bloomer, 27-year-old debuting in the majors, but he had a really strong minor league campaign last year between AAA with the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. He hit 12 homers in, how many plate appearances is that? In 366 plate appearances. So, you know, if you prorate that out to a full season, it's like a 20 homer season with a solid batting average, he's got a great discipline. So that you already see here, they're already hinting at the discipline with a 60. That could go way up. I like Cooper Hummel. I'm going to make a call on him. I'm going to go so far on the Alex Chamberlain recommendation of how much he loves him. I'm going to say Cooper Hummel to silver this year. Boom. Done. All right, and that's going to be it for the D-backs. Moving over to the Rockies, I actually think Chris Bryant's at a really nice price. And you know that if things coincide well enough where they have a homestand ahead of a roster update and he just fucking goes off, then he can get, it'll take 2 upgrades to go diamond for Chris Bryant, right? To get back into the diamond realm. But let's say, you know, he gets into like 82, 83 in the first update or something. And then, like I said, they have like a 10-game homestand leading right into an update. And he fucking puts up a 1,800 OPS for those 2 weeks. He can definitely get back to diamond. So I do like investing in Chris Bryant. I think that price is very fair. CJ Cron will likely go gold at some point this year, being that close. However, I would not invest in him just because there is volatility. He's better against lefties than righties. You see plus 15s. I mean, I guess 3 points for plus 15s makes sense. I was going to say that's pretty low, but no, that's actually pretty fair. But I would just be careful. I like both these guys, Cron and Grichuk, to go gold. But with the new quick sell changes, I don't think that they're very strong investments just because the payoff won't be as good for what you might have to wait for, because it might take a little while for both of them to get there, even though they're both pretty close, just because of road games and how they can hurt Coors players. Brendan Rodgers is my big breakout pick, though. I really, really like Brendan Rodgers, former top 5 overall pick. He went with Bregman and Dansby Swanson there. I think he went in between them, or was it Swanson, Bregman, Rodgers, or Swanson, Rodgers, Bregman? I don't remember exactly. I think it was Bregman 2 because he was a makeup pick for them losing the number 1 over. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Bottom line is he was a top 5 pick, and I really, really like Brendan Rodgers. He got his first extended playing time last year in the majors, and he was awesome. Like, he really, really went off in the first time that he really had an uninterrupted playing time. Span of playing time, I should say. Health has been a major concern. I'm still, holding a little bit of the injury concern, but you guys know, and I talk about this in fantasy all the time, when the talent is there and injury is my only issue, I'm betting on those guys because we just can't predict injuries very well. And so if you don't need, you don't need their skills to jump here, and here, you're really just hoping that he can spike some health, I'm in and I'm willing to bet. He put up a 798 OPS with 15 homers last year and 415 plate appearances. Brendan Rodgers to gold this year. I love Connor Joe. I don't know that he's necessarily a gold, partly because the Randall Grichuk move does complicate things playing time wise. Now, it doesn't kill him. They're still going to play him. In fact, I think he started all 3 games, including batting first against lefties. So I do like Connor Joe. He's I shouldn't say obviously, but calling him to go silver is not a call, right? He's 1 point away. So I think he's going to go silver for sure. Gold is not out of the question, but it would take a lot. So I would not invest in him as a gold upside right now, just because you could be waiting a very long time. I just love the talent, so I had to call him out, just to at least make it known that I'm on the Connor Joe train. Anybody else here on the Rockies? Not really. Notice I said none of their pitchers because obviously. Moving over to the Dodgers, they're probably going to be pretty difficult to invest in too because all their guys are fucking diamonds already. What's Will Smith priced at? I'm not as in on the Cody Bellinger return to prominence train as others. So if you are, go ahead and invest because the price is, he's priced to buy. But if you're tentative on it, then I would not jump in. I'm not jumping in personally. I have two because I had one already and my girlfriend just pulled one when she opened some packs. So why is Blake Trinan so high compared to the others? That's weird. Julio Urias, he looked rough in Colorado today and everyone's worried about his velo dip. I'm not making any moves one way or the other off of him, but it's worth monitoring. Chris Taylor will probably go gold again at some point just because he's a really good player. But his upside is probably capped at around 82, 83, which can pay off at this price. But I don't really see it as something that I would be diving into. There's so many other guys I'd rather jump in on, including Tony Gonsolin. I'm betting on Tony Gonsolin coming back this year. His command abandoned him last year. It was really weird. It was an injury-riddled season. I'm giving him an injury pass the way I have been with a few other guys that we've talked about here in the National League. And I think the Catman is ready to break out and go gold again. He's been gold before. We know the talent's there. He's got good swing and miss. He even had a really nice debut in Coors. Now, it was only 3 innings, but he stood tall in Coors, and I'll take that, even if it's only 3 innings to start the season. But I am calling gold for Tony Gonsolin. Fucking, I'm calling gold on Gavin Lux too. I was gonna be more cautious on it. I love Gavin Lux, and he's gonna play. He's already started all 3 games. He's got the talent. I know when they traded AJ Pollock, everyone was in on Edwin Rios, who I actually do like. I do think Edwin Rios is a solid hitter, especially if that shoulder is healthy. Although that's an unknown right now. I think he had major shoulder surgery last year, so that is an unknown. But I'm gonna bet on Gavin Lux's talent here, and I'm gonna make a big call on him and say gold. Thank you, Mills. Appreciate that on the Trinan. Someone in chat calling Vestia to gold. I am not. That is not my call. That was Eric from the chat. I love Zach McKinstry. There's just no PT right now. I just don't know where he plays, so I can't really get in on my boy McKinstry, at least until he gets back to the majors. There's the aforementioned Edwin Rios. The issue is, even if he's healthy, I still am not sure that he's shown enough contact capability to where he's really going to bring down the strikeouts and push his contact up. So there would be some growth in the power, but it'd be pretty hard. Honestly, being 5 points away from silver right now, it's hard to even get him to silver, let alone pushing beyond that. So I love Edwin Rios. I'm always rooting for him, but I can't be investing in him. I love Mitch White, and I don't know exactly how it's going to break down or where the opportunities are going to come, but I'm going to invest in him because he's so cheap. And I think he's going to be a swingman for a while, and they'll eventually need a starter. And I still believe that Mitch White can be a true starter in the majors. So I'm definitely in on him this year. I think we could see a breakout season, and I want to be in early. So I'll probably get 25, 30 shares of him on the cheap and just hold him all year. You know what I mean? When I say all year, I mean I'm in for the long haul. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm holding till September. It just means I'm not going to sell as soon as he gets to silver, for example. For somebody like this, because he's so cheap, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to try to get all the way, to gold if that's possible, if he's having a beast year. Brusdar Graterol, we know he has the talent, right? But he's the prototypical young reliever who has all the arm talent in the world, but doesn't exactly know how to use it just yet. He's still kind of figuring it out. The beauty of that, the impressive part about how good he is that he's trying to figure it out, and he's still been an above average reliever in the majors. Like his 67 in the third innings in the majors, he still has a 4.01 ERA and a 120 WHIP, and he has no idea really what he's doing. Like he throws 100 with nasty movement, and he couldn't strike me out. That's actually not true. Of course he could, but you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a gaudy strikeout rate. It hasn't really all come together yet. He's a couple clicks away from turning it on, though, and then watch out. He'll become one of the best relievers in baseball. That could be this year. And given how cheap he is, you could go for Brusdar Graterol. And I think that's going to be it for the Dodgers. 2 more teams here. We got the Padres and the Giants. My boy Rake. Oh, wow. That's actually a really fair price for an 82. He's right at quick sell. I'm kind of surprised by that. Yeah, I'd probably invest in a little bit of Cronenworth. Now, even 900/1,000 is a little higher than I want to go. My focus is usually on silvers, bronzes, and then even a handful of commons that I like to hold for the year. But this is a pretty bargain gold investment. So I would definitely get in on some Rake. Certainly a fair price. Joe Musgrove at this price is pretty fair too. I think he could definitely go diamond. I love Joe Musgrove. I fully believe in last year's breakout, so I would definitely get in on this one too. Love our boy Blake. Fortunately, he had a little injury today, got scratched from his start, so we still haven't seen him. Maybe that'll push the price down a little bit. We can parlay that into a bigger investment. He can definitely get back to gold. Obviously, he's 1 point away from that. He closed the season so well last year. I wouldn't even be surprised if he had some diamond potential, but I'll say upper gold for now, which even if he goes 83, you can quick sell that. That's 1,200 quick sell. That's not bad at all. Trent Grisham, here's the thing. If you believed in Trent Grisham last year, you should not be out this year. The breakout did not fully happen, but nothing in that season tells me that I should move off of him, you know? And I think sometimes when we buy in on a guy for fantasy and they don't go ham and like have the full scale breakout, we're like, I was wrong. Fuck that guy. It's like, whoa. Plenty to build off of from that season. There were still lots to like. It didn't quite hit the top of the scale, but he was still firmly solid. So I'm still in on the Trent Grisham experience for sure. And I think this price is completely fair. Definitely going to get into the gold range. Come on. I already got 10 of him. I don't have 10 of anybody else yet. You know I'm in on Luke Voigt. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say diamond again. He went diamond in the shortened season because they were being super aggressive on everybody. And so, you know, they were treating like a solid week as though it was like a solid month. So it was awesome. I loved it. And that's why he got diamond. He is going to go back to gold, I think. I will say, though, as much as I love Luke Voigt, we got to call out the negative, which is the health piece. He has not stayed healthy consistently at all. He has a career high of 118 games. Outside of that, he's never reached 250 plate appearances in a season. Because even in the shortened season, he only played 241 plate appearances was last year, 234 the year before that. So that's been the big issue. I love the talent, though. And at this price, I'm definitely getting in. You see, I already have 10. I will have several more in short order. I actually high-key kind of like Austin Nola, too. He's pretty cheap. Medium investment. I like the talent. A little bit of disconnect between the talent and how much they're going to play him, because they have even trading Victor Caratini, they still have Campusano and Jorge Alfaro, so there's still some catcher clutter there. I wonder if maybe a trade for Nola would be the right move to where he can just play every day, or just don't let him catch. Play him somewhere else. You know, I said how I love earlier a non-catching catcher. That'd be great. We know Will Myers will probably have a hot streak at some point and go gold, but when will that happen? I don't know, so I'm not going to invest in him. Austin Adams is nasty as hell, but you see the 27 BB9. I don't see that improving anytime soon. Paddock and Pagan will be moved to the Twins, and Taylor Rogers will come over here. I do like Dinelson Lamet as a reliever. I love that stamina that they still have on him right now. Of course, if he breaks out, as I believe he can as a reliever, as a one-inning stud, they'll obviously drop that stamina. That won't kill his overall, though. Stamina does impact it, but even if they move it down to like a 40, it won't destroy him. It will make things a little bit tougher for him, but I do think the strikeout upside, like the nastiness factor, is off the charts with him. So he could be pushing his hits 9 and K9 into the 90s if Dinelson Lamet breaks out the way I think he can. So I'm gonna call gold for Dinelson Lamet this year. I love Ha-Seong Kim, and the Fernando Tatis injury sucks shit. No matter what, I'm not even a I'm not even a Padres fan, and it's awful because one of the best star players in the game is not playing, and that sucks. I was really excited about what that meant for Ha-Seong Kim, and then C.J. Abrams had to go ahead and be the god tier player that he is and announce his presence right away by breaking camp, which, hey, I like that. And I like that all these teams are calling up these prospects. It did put a damper on my Kim love a little bit. I'm still going to invest in him because he's cheap enough to do so, but I'm a little bit more tepid on things just because the playing time is not going to be there every single day for him. He's probably going to start against all lefties, but then he's going to mix in against righties. So unless another injury comes open to where he gets full-time burn, he's probably going to cap out in like the 79 to 81 range, just because I don't know if he's going to have enough time to make the impact. And the worst part is that when you're playing sporadically like that, it can really make it hard to get in a groove and get your numbers going. So as much as I love Abrams, it did really put a damper on my Ha-Seong Kim love. I got Hosmer for common this year. I'm just kidding. Mackenzie Gore, kind of like the Mitch Keller love, right? If you bought in on the spring situation, you should be excited. He had a good start in his debut in the minors this year. There's a lot to like with Mackenzie Gore. He does not have a spot yet, but he will be up in the majors. He seems to have gotten over his yips from last year, which is really awesome. This is one of the best pitching prospects in the game. Very excited for him. At this price point, you cannot be hurt. Just know that it's going to be long-term. He's not even in the majors yet. So, again, I'm going to reiterate it. We're on our second to last team, so you only have to hear me say it at least one more time, maybe two. If you're not patient, don't invest in him. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to be patient. You know yourself better than I do. If you're not somebody who can wait, then don't even waste your time. But if you are somebody who's patient enough to put like 25 Mackenzie Gore shares off to the side until he comes up and can possibly break out, then do that. Because that price point is too cheap not to. Some other interesting guys here, but nobody that I'm really like diving in on. So, all right, our final team. We're off to the Giants. 107 win team, doesn't even have a diamond. And that just speaks to how awesome they were as a team of depth. They played all those platoons. They had some really strong pitching. And I don't think they're going to win that many again. Obviously, I wouldn't even predict the Dodgers to win 107. Like, you just don't predict teams to win that many. It's just, those are outlier seasons, no matter how good your team is. But I do think the Giants will remain strong. I think they'll remain a contending team. They're going to run the platoons again, and they're going to have strong pitching. They've continued to buy in on discounted pitching due to health and get the most out of it. Example, one of the biggest examples you can get is Carlos Rodon. We saw how great he was last year. Health has always been the problem with Rodon. He stayed relatively healthy last year, and he broke out. Don't be surprised if he just carries on that greatness. Already has 12 strikeouts on the season in his first start. Rodon is a G. You could invest in him. There is definitely diamond upside. Just know the injury profile is scary as hell. So it can all be taken away from you at a moment's notice because of that health piece. But that's the thing of it is that's the case with every pitcher. We just overinflate it with the guys that are healthy, or that do have previous health issues, and we underrate it with the guys who are perceived as healthy or who are healthy at the moment. I shouldn't say perceived as, but just because you're healthy at the moment as a pitcher, you're always one pitch away. I know that's kind of a dark outlook, but it's the truth. The myth of of safe pitching is something that I'm trying to push back against this year. Nobody's safe. If you're pitching, you're not safe. So invest in talent, not safety. To that end, Logan Webb, my boy Eno Sayers did a really great job with Jeff Zimmerman working on guys that have injury risk and trying to really put a number to it. And Logan Webb came out with one of the bigger numbers on the negative end because of his shoulder issues, even just last year. And I grant that and I respect that. I'm still taking the talent, though, because I'm not going to bypass Logan Webb for somebody who's less talented just because they're safer, because I don't believe in the concept of that safety. Now, previous injury is one of the best indicators for future injury. I know that. I grant that. So I'm not suggesting that Eno's work is wrong or anything like that. This is not a dig at Eno. It's just saying that draft the best talent when it comes to pitchers. Don't look for safety because you're not actually finding it. It's an illusion. Disco, I could see Tony Disco getting back to gold. He's fine. Not a huge payoff. I would rather Alex Webb than Tony Disco, right? They're 1 point apart, and I think they're just as good as one another. In fact, Alex Wood, when healthy, is probably better than Anthony DeSclafani. So I would definitely call gold for Alex Wood this year. And I'm also going to make a call. I'm going to go find him real quick since we're on Alex's. I'm going to make a big call on Alex Cobb. Now, his health is a big issue, too. Even bigger than the other two guys. I'm going to call gold on him. I am going to put my confidence in the Giants. And they're going to maximize him. They're going to get some health out of him. And I'm going to throw some Cobb love out there. Apparently he's throwing 97 in spring. I'm not putting too much stock into that. I like him as a talent. I've liked him since Tampa Bay. So I'm going to say Alex Wood going gold this year. The problem with all their hitters down here is like they're all platoon type guys, and so it's going to be tougher. Now, you can make two cases. You can say, well, if they're platooned, then the weakness, the hand that they're weak against, they won't be exposed to, so they'll only put up good numbers. True. However, since SDS splits things up between righties and lefties, they're only going to get boosted on the side that they're playing against, you know? I like Camilo Duvall. I really do, but he's already a little pricey. I probably wouldn't jump in too much. Let's see who else here. Joey Bart. Okay, so he's actually, why is he so expensive? Oh, because of the event, right? Because of the City Connect event. Damn. Wait till he goes back down. But I think, and this is, you know, a lot of my points come from a fantasy perspective because that's what I do for a living. I write and talk about fantasy. So in the fantasy realm, and this is a lot like fantasy baseball, so the parallels are always there because we're betting on, you know, we're trying to analyze the talent and see who's going to perform, overperform or underperform. Joey Bart has been thrown out already by so many people. He was a premium prospect, and he has all of 1 minute in the majors, and people are already acting like, who cares? He has 124 major league plate appearances, and we got some people out here pretending like he does not have major upside, and I don't understand that. I still think he has substantial upside. He's going to get his first big opportunity this year, and I'm in. So I think Joey Bart has the opportunity to be really good. Do not invest in him until his price smooths out. So wait for that event to end, but then you can get in on some Joey Bart. Elliot Ramos, he's got to find an opportunity first, and then Tyler Beatty. Shouts to my boy Nick Pollock again. He was big on him early in the winter. Health has been the issue with Tyler Beatty 100%. He's a former number one pick, 14th overall back in 2014 now. So it's been a whole ass minute. But he's still on the right side of 30. And again, if we're going to trust the team to kind of maximize and get a player back and healthy, it's San Francisco. So there's a lot of upside here. It's a long way out, right? I'm thinking like July would be when he can be a significant factor in terms of silver or gold. But the upside is there, and it's single digits. If you want a long-term lottery ticket, Tyler Beatty. And there it is. There it is. the National League and the entire league done now, because I did the American League video first. If you didn't watch that, go check that out. A lot of information. I grant that. Take from it the players that you want. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll definitely get to as many of those as I can. Probably all of them, let's be honest. I got time to answer a lot of questions. If there's certain guys you like, I'll give my thoughts on them if I didn't talk about them. But let's get started, man. The investment season is going to be fun. It's going to be different with these quick sell prices, but it's not dead. It's not done. I saw people freaking the hell out when the quick sell things came out. Do not worry about that. We're going to make our moves still. We're still going to have our stacks, and we're going to have plenty of stubs to get the players that we want. So thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon.